I think, the thought of like a 2-year-old being depressed or having anxiety is a difficult thought for somebody older to think about, and we think that they can't really process emotions like that, and they don't really know what being depressed is, and like what does a 2-year-old have to be depressed about. But I think that because toddlers are like sponges, they really feed off of their parents' energy and how their parents react to situations and how their parents act on an everyday basis. And I think that this is why children can become depressed. Like, if their parent is depressed, they're going to have a hard time not being depressed if they're with their parent all day. And, if their parent just stays in bed and can't really do much because of their depression, or if the parent is very anxious and doesn't really know how to go out in public and react to situations well, then the child isn't going to learn how to do that, so that could lead to a lot of depression and anxiety from the child. And things like this can also lead to anger issues and anger disorders later in life when they start to go into school and notice the difference between them and the other children. And, a child who doesn't really know how to process their emotions only really gives off anger, and that can lead to a lot of problems in class, especially when questioned by a teacher, or, the more a teacher gets frustrated with the student and disciplines the student, the more the child is filled with emotions and they don't know how to respond to, and they don't understand why they're being disciplined, and can't react healthily to the discipline, and can't react well to other children, and don't know, if a kid's being mean to them. They don't really know how to respond and how to not be mean back, and they can really feed off of that, and that can make them more depressed in their everyday life. And so I think that psychologists and other people have a harder time wanting to say that a child is depressed, because it's such an odd thought to say, oh, well, he's 7 and he's depressed, and they want to see, is this going to wear off later in life? Is it just something they're upset about now? By the time they're 13, they probably won't be like this, so we won't give them the diagnosis of depressed, because it probably won't stick for very long. An anger disorder, they could just be a not very well behaved kid, not very disciplined at home, and doesn't really know how to respond to stuff like that. So they don't really want to diagnose stuff because of the possibility of it going away, and they don't really want to heavily medicate a small child like that. But in some cases they might need to, because it could be more than just how a person responds. It could be, something chemically wrong with the child that should be addressed as soon as possible.